this, and I always say this before I start to speak. More closer. You know that when you speak as loud as you can hear yourself. So I hear myself just fine, but can you? So if you can't, just raise your hand or whatever. We do this all the time. I love being here. This comedy night is my favorite event. But it ties my support to the Center for Hearing and Communication. So I thank you so much for coming out this evening to support the Center for Hearing and Communication. Let me tell you what the center has done for me. Some people don't really understand what this agency is about. I started losing my hearing as a young adult, and I came to the center, which was then the Leaf of Hard of Hearing, in 1972 for my first hearing aid. And as my hearing degenerated, they were there for me with every form of assistance, speech reading classes, assistive devices, and as we got started, we also got involved with advocacy, and finally the ultimate in selflessness and good advice. They said, it's time for your cochlear implants. And so 20 years ago, I got my first. That's what the center is to me. It was my lifeline. It still is my lifeline. I feel so connected to this agency. So I thank you for coming out and supporting it. So. That's how many years I've been to this event. 30 years. 30 years. And I have documentation on it. Because my first book, Here Again, has a chapter on comedy night. And it said, which I wrote it in 1998, it said that this was my 11th year of comedy. So you do the math. 1998, 11 years, 30 years coming to comedy night. And let me tell you, it never gets old. Why do I keep coming back? Why do we keep coming back? The answer is very simple, and it addresses Lori's point. Because we can. We come here because there's captioning. We come here because there are assistive devices and interpreters. We can understand everything, even the punchlines. And that's why we keep coming back 30 years. But in those 30 years, this has been the only place where somebody with a hearing loss can understand stand-up comedy the way it should be, getting everything. There's nowhere else where you can do this. Nowhere. Not 30 years ago and not today. This is it. That's kind of awesome. Now think about it. The irony is that there are a whole bunch of deaf people who have been to a comedy night, a comedy show 30 times. How many hearing people have done that? That has to be some sort of record. Yes. And let me give you a little background on this comedy night. Going back 30 years, there was no captioning. It didn't exist. Back then, we had interpreters, we had assistive listening devices, but the captioning hadn't been perfected to do this yet. So a couple of years after it began, we started captioning, and I don't know if you remember Don Depew. He was the one who started captioning theater. He was the first one to caption the comedy night. And in preparation for that, we realized that there was something missing in what every court reporter would usually be reporting, and that is profanity. Court reporters never put up profanity, and I'll leave the details to the comedians. The very first thing we had was all the words he might encounter and put them in his dictionary and make sure that they didn't end up in a Classy was captioning for somebody in Columbia. So those were swimming for the very first how many nights? Okay, and one other thing that you might want to be aware of, when you're listening to the comedians, I hope you will laugh and laugh a lot. But you'll notice that the laughter will come in two ways. The first wave will be the people who can hear it directly. They will laugh right away. But a moment or two later, you'll hear that second wave. So that second wave is getting the punchlines through the captioning on the interpreter. So just so you know what's going on, that's what's happening. Well, the point of this is that this event allows all of us to laugh together. Or, as my British colleague, who also perfected Caption My Theatre in London, we get a chance to laugh together. And thank you again for coming.